Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day, and today we're here with a video on how my approach to Slayer has changed on my progression on this new account. This account, I guess, isn't all that new. I created it about 10 months ago for a series of mine that I'm currently doing on my channel. If you guys want to check that out, there will be a link to it down below. But that is not the point of this video. The point of this video is to talk about the things that I have done on this route to, I'm currently at 95 Slayer, so pretty far, not at 99, still got a long way to go, but I'm a man that loves myself some Slayer. These are the ways that I went about enjoying my experience. Might not be exactly what you like, but if any of these adaptations to Slayer sound appealing to you, feel free to take them. So not everything that I talk about is going to be like, secretive or anything all too groundbreaking, but more about my general experience. To start, we'll go into kind of the Slayer Masters and how I'd recommend choosing which one is going to be best for you. For me personally, I really don't mess around with a lot of the low-level Slayer Masters because they assign some really bad tasks. A lot of the newer Slayer Masters assign better tasks that are more optimized for old-school RuneScape Slayer XP. With that in mind, I basically decided at low levels that I was going to do a lot of Wilderness Slayer, and I would say if you're coming back to Slayer or coming back to RuneScape and you want to get into it, Wilderness Slayer is a great way to make some money. There is some risk since you're in the wilderness, of course, but if you don't take too much, you'll kind of learn how to get out of situations, and you'll learn over time. Also have a video on how to escape PKers. God, man, I make too many videos. Anyways, the Wilderness, I think, is the way to go at low levels. It's also kind of nice at med levels to come back and maybe do some of the bosses that are in the Wilderness. Then once you have the ability to unlock Neve, I would say that's probably the way to go, considering you'll get pretty good XP there. And personally, I tell people to avoid Konar because the tasks are pretty horrid, in my opinion. You'll get some good ones, but there's a lot of bad ones. The Slayer point boost is okay, but the Wilderness is even better. And I personally just hate some of the areas that these tasks are assigned. So for me, it was even worse because I'm someone that likes to AFK my task every now and then, and some of the Konar layers are just disgusting. And then finally, whenever you decide you really want to get into bossing, I made this decision about 88, 89 Slayer. I then decided to go to Duradel since he has the highest priority towards bosses rather than XP. And if I ever decide I want to go back to XP, I'll head back on over to Neve. And that's kind of how I approached it on this account. And that bit about Duradel and bossing leads me perfectly into my next point, and that is to take Slayer slow. Unless you're someone that's trying to max your account insanely fast, which honestly, I'm trying to do that as quick as I can, but I like Slayer, so I know that it is to be so much more enjoyed if you just go a little slower, do more boss tasks, make more money. At the end of the day, once you hit 99 Slayer, and I've never done it, you do have a lot less desire to slay for obvious reasons, and PVMing just won't inherently be as fun. Maybe you'll find that desire, maybe you like bossing, but being able to kind of draw out Slayer is something I kind of enjoy right now. And that's personally probably because I've played a few accounts, but I think that if you're someone that envisions yourself getting 99, do it in a way that's going to be the best for you. Also, when I say doing it in the way that's going to be best for you, I'd recommend you guys get skills, diaries done to be able to improve your Slayer gains. I see some people that are extreme examples that, could be level 120 walking around in a combat bracelet. It's not the worst thing, but it's damn close. Just make sure to enjoy the game as a whole. If you really don't enjoy the rest of the game and just focus in on Slayer, once you get burnt, you're gonna not have much to do. And then, as you guys can tell right now, I'm using Piety and I'm canoning. And that is because my third tip is just to make money, you gotta spend money. Obviously, that is as true as ever with Slayer. There are some expensive ways to train Slayer, primarily through canoning task and also bursting and barraging of the sort. On top of that, you could buy bracelets to either extend task or shorten them, and a lot of little subtle ways to improve your Slayer as far as gear upgrades go and whatnot. But at the end of the day, if you can afford to be able to put some money into Slayer, it is going to be so worth it to get to those later stages of Slayer. I say it all the time, like, Slayer is a great skill, however, you don't see a lot of the profit until post like 75, 80, once you start to get to those high level tasks, because there's a ton of people that are, at level 50s and 60s, so those monsters really don't do all too much for the people killing them. A lot of the late game Slayers where you're going to find your money, so the quicker you can get there, the better. And cannoning, bursting, barraging, bracelets, all of that is worth doing as long as you have a somewhat efficient money-making method on the side. And if you can't establish one of those, I'd recommend checking out my channel. God, dude, I need to stop. It's so tempting. Then the next tip is one that I actually haven't employed right now, but I plan on doing in the future, so I'll add it. And that is, if you have the ability to, if you have enough cash laying around in your bank that you don't have to sell off all the Slayer drops you get as soon as you get them, and you can maybe stash them up for a while, making a well-organized Slayer tab and just kind of having something that can definitively show you how much money you're making from Slayer is going to be so much more motivating. And obviously you can just see the payoff as you're doing your tasks, so it's just going to encourage you to go out and do so much more. And also having an organized bank is one of my favorite things. Granted, right now it isn't, but when you're a progressing account, sometimes you just have too much stuff coming in your bank, so it's hard. I get it, but man, does it look good if you get a good Slayer tab. And then the last few tips that I have will all be encompassed in bossing. The reason I don't talk a lot about like early game Slayer is because that is really just a lot of a grind. If you do it all out in the wildy, you know, you'll get down to like the 10 or 15 tasks that you like doing, and you can just grind all the way to 70, 75 where you start getting the big stuff. That's where the bulk of Slayer is up there. That's why I'm talking about it. And as far as bosses go, I'd like to give you some recommendations as far as how I approach it. And the first thing about bossing isn't something that I've done strategically. I just kind of have people I know in the game, I have buddies, and just people in general that are willing to go bossing with me, and I'm willing to go bossing with them if they ask me, you know. Just having people to be able to boss with is so useful. Along with having fun and enjoying your time with other people, you can also get some of your Slayer tasks done with them, so a little 2-for-1 action, always nice. So obviously you can incorporate your friends into your Slayer. There's also a way to do like a duo Slayer, but I don't know if anyone really does that. Maybe if you're really hardcore about it, you could do some of that. And now up on screen, I'll have a list of bosses that I like and bosses that I really don't like. Most of the ones that you'll get with Slayer, this isn't every boss that you can be assigned, because you can be assigned a boss list, which then has a ton of different bosses, but these are the main ones that you can get through Slayer. And on my like list, I think those are kind of obvious. Kraken, I like because it's just pretty soothing. Vorkath, Dagonoth King, Cerberus are all really good money. And as far as KBD, I just like it because it's also kind of relaxing, much like Kraken. And I like the KBD pet, and I've gone after it for a while. So, a little bit more personal with KBD, but the rest I think are a pretty hard set with Slayer. And then as far as my dislike list, at the top of that I have Sire, because I just absolutely hate killing the boss. It's actually decent money, but God, is it rough. Grotesque Guardian's in a close second because it's just really bad money. It's not a bad boss to fight, just really bad money. KQ, because I don't like running. Thermi, also because I don't like running. And Jad, because I've just done 30 to 40 fight caves and I'm kind of bored of them. I would love a Jad pet, but it's a hard one to get motivated for. And then finally, to wrap up this video, along with what I said earlier with having friends that you can boss with, make sure to boss outside of Slayer. I know it's really enjoyable to kind of get caught up in Slayer. Do it all the time. And as I said earlier, skilling and questing can kind of be a way to get away, but there is a lot of really good, really enjoyable late game content in PVM that you're not going to find in Slayer. Like Raids 1, Raids 2, the Inferno if you're, you know, an absolute god. God Wars Dungeon, Corp, you know, just a ton of different things, of course. And I recommend getting a taste of it all. Maybe if you even want to PK, do something like that. Just stuff to test you outside of Slayer, because the distinguishing factor between someone that really knows what they're doing in regards to PVM in my mind and someone that has just kind of made their bank through Slayer is knowing how to do that top tier PVM content. So if you're into that stuff, give it a look. If you're not, what do, you know? So that is going to be it for me. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. I'm going to be doing a lot more kind of one-off videos about stuff that I'm doing in-game. Without spoiling this account for those that are following the series, I've been grinding it a lot lately, and now I'm getting to the point in the game where I'm going to be, you know, having some really long levels that I will have to do. So I'll have a lot of time to work on videos and whatnot. If you have anything you'd like to see, let me know in a comment down below. If you guys enjoyed this one, though, make sure to leave a like. And if you want to see more videos like this as soon as they go live, make sure to hit that subscribe. With that said, hopefully you guys have a wonderful day. And I need to get out of here.